It's really slow. Should we get started? Okay. Good afternoon, almost evening, everyone. This is the MILE working group session. So if you are not expecting to talk about the managed incident lightweight exchange, you may want to switch rooms. So hopefully everybody is familiar with the note well. I'm trying to look at faces. Is anybody new to MILE? No. Good. So just be cognizant of the IETF note well rules. For the agenda today, I think, yeah, we have TBD. So I'm going to go flip these two slides. So I want to thank Dave for taking notes on the Etherpad. Anybody else who's willing to help, you're using the Etherpad link that is in the IETF agenda, so feel free to click on that and you can see the notes being taken live, the minutes. And thank you, Mia, for being our Jabber scribe. So for the agenda today, we can go through, hopefully rather quick, on the MILE status, and then we'll have an update on the JSON IODEF draft, which I believe Alexi had a conflict today, has gone through and the state has now changed, meaning the last call, it's now going towards the IESG publication, comment review and publication. So I don't think we need to discuss on that other than to provide updates based on the feedback, because we had quite a few comments on that one. And then we'll get...
Excuse me, can I clarify the precise date of JSON IODEF? I just checked in the data tracker. It's actually still an IETF last call until August 1st.
Okay. Alexi, okay, let me check in my email because I thought there was going to be an update, so maybe it didn't get updated. I take it back.
It can still get updated despite the fact that it's in last call, but it's in last call until
okay.
First.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, and then from there, we'll have the updates on our two remaining outstanding drafts on the extensions, basically, to Rolly. And then we have a little bit of time left, so if there's any other business, we can address those as well. So any other things that you guys want to add or modify on the agenda? Blue sheet, we have one blue sheet up here, so if anybody needs it. Okay. So I've already thanked the volunteers. With respect to the milestones, I think we need to talk to Alexi, because if you look at the milestones dates and the actual MILE website, we need to update those. But from the actual work, we did finally publish the XMPP grid. It's now RFC 8600. the JSON IODEF has received quite a few comments during its last call. We need to confirm from the AD that it can move on. And then we have 2 remaining drafts that I'd like to ensure we have enough reviews so that we can put the last call and get the shepherding going towards publication. Okay, so with that, I think we already went through the discussions of what happened in Prague and how we're proceeding now. With respect to the vulnerability draft, I'm not sure, Taki, I think I saw comments from you from the vulnerability, but I'm not sure I saw comments from Jess or from Kathleen.
I did
Okay.
get comments from Jeff.
Okay,
Oh, I've been delinquent.
okay.
What do I need to do?
You need to provide comments. It's just to make sure that we have some reviewers on the vulnerability draft. What's that? Yeah, and Chris just,
Chris and
thank you,
Phil-
Chris.
Phil did as well. So I've already got a decent amount. If you want to wait for the last call,
I'll send something to you.
Nudge me and nudge me again. Like if I
Okay.
don't respond.
Well, I've got to go back and take account. Yeah, so I was asking for at least 3 reviewers, and the same thing on the CSERT extension draft. I honestly don't remember seeing any feedback.
I got it good. I got Chris reviewed, Taki reviewed as well. The CSERT one, I believe.
Okay.
I also got review from
I'll review it too.
a couple other people.
Well, your name is on there.
I've been delinquent. You're really gonna nudge me. I apologize for that.
And that's okay. I was bad at nudging people too. So if you can tell me, Stephen, later who all the reviewers were, I can go back and see.
Yeah, I'll go back and forth.
And then what I'd like to do at the end of the session is to take a notion of who's reviewed it and whether we believe we're ready for a last call for both drafts. Okay? All right. So with that, let me, who's presenting? Is it you?
Yes.
Okay. So Taki is
Yes.
presenting.
So this is just a brief update of the CBOR JSON binding of IODEF draft. So nothing that important has changed. Most of the comments are editorial. Basically, the mapping between the base IODEF XML spec and JSON spec was discussed. Not so many was changed. Only editorial you can see in the mailing list. But could you go to the next slide, please? I see.
Yeah.
So as you can see, working group last call was completed, and AD and Alexei has already provided me some comments. He also provided me some offline comments regarding some editorial stuff like language stuff. So it's much better by now. And we are currently in the process of the IETF last call. Secretariat already provided the review, but the contents are nothing. This is just the content are the same, like the basic spec. So there is no additional concern when we have a JSON binding. So the secretariat review was completed without any problem. For the Gen Art review, he provided a bit more comments regarding the mapping between XML and JSON. And actually, I already have replied, and I don't see any big problem at all. I'm just hoping to receive some confirmation that the changes I made was good from the standpoint of the Gen Art reviewer. But anyway, no major issue were raised until now, so hopefully we can publish the draft ASAP. That's about it. Thank you.
So you've made all the changes. So you
Yes.
mean publish? Okay.
I did it, but only in the GitHub. Because the changes are so small, I didn't think we had better publish to the next version. or if necessary, I can publish as a.
You need to, so that Alexi, and then we can check with Alexi too,
Okay,
to
sure.
publish,
I will.
right? So that he can push that version out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay, that's
Was that it? Any questions on this one? Good progress. All right. So now, which one did you want to do first?
It's just all in PowerPoint, one presentation, so I'll just.
Oh, it's all in one?
Yep. Save us some time that way.
Okay. I appreciate it. You want the clicker?
Sure. Thank you.
Well, you need the clicker. There we go.
Very small pink box this time around. All right, thanks everyone for coming to Smile and come listen to all this. So I'm going to give two presentations back to back here on the updates to the 2 Rolly extension drafts that are being worked on in Mile. The first one is, that scroll's kind of weird. Whatever. We'll see if we can make it through. The first one is going to be the vulnerability draft. Just got a new version of this posted. Go through some of the changes. Can you help me out here? Because the scrolling is very strange.
Chromebook. I did put it into full screen. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
3 clicks.
Okay, so just to go over the changes really quick so everyone's up to date on what's been done to the vulnerability draft. Some of the formatting has been updated in the vulnerability draft to more closely match the template that we've been building out for Rolly extensions. It helps it a little bit more readable, helps you follow the requirements a little bit more easily. That doesn't include any normative changes, and really the formatting wasn't that far off in the first place. So this is not a major overhaul. This is just kind of bringing a couple sections in line and shifting the hierarchy around a little bit just to make it flow the same way as the other ones. There's no major changes as part of this. We've removed the VDO from the vuln document. The current version of the VDO, it's the vulnerability description ontology, was determined to be too unstable. It's still in a draft format. That's a NIST publication. And so we've decided to remove that from this document. And when the time comes, if the time comes, a separate document can be written for that format. This is for the, there are 2 different formats for CVEs that's used. There's an XML format as well as a JSON format. Those are the NVD XML and NVD JSON formats. In order to make the differences between requirements more clear, I've split the text into 2 sections, made it a little bit more readable, made it flow a little bit better. That doesn't change the requirements. The requirements are the same. The intent is the same. The wording should just make it much more clear. Okay, and that was the most recent version of vulnerability that was just posted. New version of CSERT was just posted, and then another new version after that to include Chris's changes. This was actually a change that was made almost immediately after the last IETF, but I wanted to include it here. The / resource location requirement is reduced because the requirement is inherited from 8322, and increasing the severity of that requirement was deemed not necessary and put an undue stress on implementers. The / resource already is fully compatible and fully interoperable with Rolly and with this extension, and you don't need more requirements to make that the case. So I think that was the only normative change in the CSERT document. And then a lot of typos, spelling errors, and things were fixed as well. The one major typo that was changed, and this was thanks to Chris's comment, and now I'm forgetting exactly what it was because it was like hours ago that I made it, and I did not update this PowerPoint hours ago. So
Well, but these changes were made against the version that Chris reviewed.
Yeah, correct.
Right. So,
Yes. So this is all accurate. I mean, I'll send a note to list of that other change. And in fact, I already sent a note to list about it, so it's fine. Okay. So I think that both of these documents are done and ready. I've received a lot of good review, and I'll get an exact list of reviewers to you, Nancy. I think you wanted some more, and I think we can probably pin down a few more.
Actually, you listed a few. That's why I just wanted to confirm, right?
We can confirm that, yeah.
So I'm actually fine doing, well, we need to take consensus in the group. So a question for you on the vulnerability extensions where you had removing the video. Were all of those changes in response to comments you received?
The removal of video was not in response to a comment. That was response to the author,
Well,
which is literally only me, isn't it? For vulnerability, thinking that and I was the one who thought it was appropriate to add in the first place, and received some amount of vocal support that could be a decent thing to add.
but if it isn't published, then it can't go through because we'd be gated until its publication. So it was the right move. I'm just asking as to the changes that you made, whether they were all due to comments.
I removed video because it was an unstable reference.
No, I'm just saying in general, all
Yeah.
of the changes you made. Okay.
So yeah, I think they're both ready. There is one issue outstanding for both documents. And this is actually in response to Chris's comments as well as Taki's comments. They've both pointed out that there is normative language in the documents. They are specifications that are written to ensure interoperability between implementations. And that would imply that these should be standards track documents.
Well, and if they are extensions, they should be standard track documents.
Right. So I don't think there would be any issue in changing that designator to standards as we move to last call.
So before you move it to last call, I think it would be good to just make the change. But let me just ask in the group if there are any objections to seeing it change to standards track. Okay.
For it to move from informational standards track, I think some care has to be taken to update some of the references in the document, because like for CVE, the reference is actually just to like www or cve.miter.org, which isn't.
You're
gonna have to like
split between normative and informative in the reference section.
Yeah, and you're gonna have stable enough for that set.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to make sure the normative language is clear versus informative.
I think reviewers, so this is an opinion, I think reviewers have been effectively treating this document as a standards document because there's a lot of normative language in it. I think that's how it was understood, but we could ask for more review.
Yeah, so I would, having read it only a handful of hours ago, I would say that it does well with actually being formatted more like a standards document than an informational document. So minus going over the references, I'm not concerned about that kind of change.
Okay. So I think I'm okay in saying just convert. Let me know when you've done that, and I can put a working group last call.
Okay.
Before we put it out.
Yep.
To Shepherd State.
Yep. Sounds like a plan to me.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
That took like less than.
Yeah, I tend to go over on these things, but I really kind of got it short this time. Not bad.
Okay, so I'm kind of hopeful and optimistic here, especially since everybody's got their eyes on their laptops. So how many people have read the drafts?
I was just watching the video stream when you talked.
Nice try. Okay, how many people have read the documents? And only 2, 3. Okay. I don't know if it's fair to ask if we believe they're ready for working group last call. So why don't you give me the updates? I will post them and I will ask the question, which I need to confirm. Actually, I don't, but I can ask to confirm whether we're ready. Or I could just, based on the reviews, I could just start a working group last call. Yeah. Okay. So in my optimistic form, if we can start the working group last call and we can get the reviewers, and I promise to nudge you, Kathleen,
I'm so sorry.
then perhaps we don't need to have a session in Singapore. Are there any objections or comments or thoughts to that?
So as the author of basically the two last outstanding drafts, I think that sounds reasonable. I think that if we can get this last call going and really get the review in there and keep it moving, that there's not really anything that we couldn't just do over list. And at the most, maybe a virtual interim if we need one, but I'm imagining we finish this up on list.
Well, that's what I'm presuming and hoping, but that relies on responsiveness on the chairs, and I'm as much to blame, as well as the author and the reviewers. So for the next version of the drafts during, I guess, once we open it to the last call, it would be good. So Dave, you said you could review. Chris, you could review. Kathleen, you could review. So I think, and I'm presuming you can do both drafts? I mean, Taki, you and I need to review them. So that's a given.
Dave Baltimore, just to be clear from the notes, you're suggesting we do those reviews as part of the last call? Or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That way I can actually, or Taki, whoever shepherds it, to say it's gone through, we've addressed comments and go through the full process. Goodness, I think, are there any orders of business? Going once, going twice. Okay, I give you guys back 28 minutes plus a little bit more, or like 38 minutes. Thank you, everyone. This has been good. I'm hopeful, unless we receive a lot of comments, right? Yeah, well, right, at that pace we would have to, but yeah. Okay, thank you, everyone. Yeah, I saw. So Dave, the only question was the formatting and some of that stuff. I think he was referring to that in the vulnerability draft, not the CSER. The first set of notes.
Oh, yeah. I'll add that.
Oh,
If you can just, yeah.
Thank you.
Don't forget to sign blue sheets. So Taki, would you like to shepherd them? You want me to
Sure.
shepherd them?
I can do that for the, at least for the vulnerability, I can do that.
For which one?
For the vulnerability, I can do that at least.
Okay.
But if necessary, I can do both. Up to you.
No.
Our last work. So.
Yeah, it's our last one, so. We can split it or,
Sure. If it's
And now
okay, tentatively, let's split it. And if you are overwhelmed, then let me know.
so I will shepherd the CSER
Thank you.
and you will shepherd.
Yeah, vulnerability.
I think he would laugh.
Thank you. Taki, I will miss this because it's been so easy to do this one versus
Thank you.
the other ones.
By the way, I wanted to ask you whether we should really close it or whether we have a chance to meet them or some other people who can make use of that organization or team.
No, we can't.
Close it easier.
You have to close it or you have to recharter.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I was going to offer Brett, but I was ready to close Mile down that we could take some of the cacao work here if we recharter. But
Still good?
I adjourned this.
This is casual conversation.
I asked that Taka was asking, and I said, if Brett wanted to bring stuff that could pertain to Mile, because some of the cacao stuff is, we could recharter and keep Mile going.
Interesting.
I think,
The like playbook sharing aspect of it.
Sure.
yeah,
How about that?
I talked with my fellow sponsors.
Yeah, and bring people in and the charter gets changed a little bit.
of course, I just said we would meet in
Change the
Singapore.
name so we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so,
He's gone.
well, no, our AD is actually Alexi,
Sure.
not Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I think Alexi would be like, yeah, good idea.
yeah. So Brett, just let me know, and,
Sorry.
if you want me to get in on the conversation with Alan, I can explain it to him.
Are we on?
Right. So Taki, did you want me to look at the three?
Yes, please.
Right.
I have time right now.
Oh, thank you. Actually,
I'm gonna have to go back through all the names. Thank you so much for doing that much, so.
do you know where Panos is also in San Francisco?
No, he's in North Carolina.
North
It
Carolina.
was amazing, because I was just doing it late and nobody else signed up to do minutes. And I missed a couple things.
Right, it's a sort of crowdsourced note taking.
There's two other people who joined in, and one person was like, do you mind me doing this? And I said, actually, I'm having a problem, like, these are fairly new glasses. I can't see the screen up there, and my typing, I can see the screen if I have my glasses on, and I can't see my screen with my glasses on.
The screen size for the size of that room is actually really nice.
Well, there was
But
this
you know what, I
weird.
have to remove all the
So,
glasses. That balance.
I can look
the
at them here,
optometrist
and then if
actually
you send me
spoke in
email,
My last set of glasses,
I can
and the
ask,
optometrist was not as good as the last one, like, she worried about, it, the other one worried about how I use my glasses. This one didn't, they optimized for my distance, so that these are perfect. I mean,
I don't even have,
It was horrible. It's hard. Like some of the people, like, I kind of turned, look at it to try and understand what was saying.
Oh, she doesn't
People
want.
like enter the kind of mumble at night.
Because I was gonna say, you can just use the card every 20 days.
he has He's good about that.
You'll work for a minute. You actually followed.
I do,
Yeah.
I don't know that he's still there anymore. He did,
Yeah, I'm still very good, but I checked with very good process.
no.
So
Phil Rollaway was the user I worked with, but he's sick or something. And then there's another photographer in Santa Barbara that I can't remember.
Yeah,
his
well,
name.
my sister. Yeah. My sister, she's. Yeah. she's really big.
Okay.
She's crazy.
Oh, what are their names? Send me their names.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chair.